Our mission today is search and destroy, so the corners, 9 inches away from the center, and we have minefields and taking hold. And this is the map. It's just took it out of I think of a terrain pack when 10th first came out, so I just added a little terrain down each one of these corners, and it's just a practice game between myself. It's just to show these tanks how they can be swingy, they can be good and they can be bad. So maybe this game they're good, and it'll not show my purpose of the video really. But I like using more infantry, so that's why I'm hoping in the codex we get some sort of, maybe the bikes get buffed something, so we don't have to always use these big ForgeWorld tanks. They're expensive, and some people just don't like using them. There's the Dark Angels. We're going to do a search and destroy, so it's just like this corner, 9 inches away from the center, and that corner, and Valerian, to show off Valerian. I have Valerian just for the purpose of showing how he can really neuter some melee armies. Alright, we'll be back after deployment. You may hear some this in the background once in a while, or some click-clack, and that's my dog Oscar. She is a Great Dane Husky German Shepherd mix. Her father was purebred Great Dane and her mother was German Shepherd and Husky. She's a great puppy. She's a bit loud. She'll bark your ears off when she first sees you, but she's real friendly. She just sounds mean. And, so you might hear her chomping once in a while, moving around, but she's always here, so if you come on down, you'll be seeing her. Here we'll have our roll-off. The black and yellow is Custodes, and green is Dark Angels. This is just for deployment. 6 and 6, okay. The Dark Angels will take first turn since they have some scouting units, so hopefully get these scouting units out here and decide where I'm going to go after that. This is my deployment for the Custodes. I put the tanks over here, one for this way just so I can start bringing it up on the side here, so it's not always just sitting back here, or if I need to, it can screen. Same with this one, I can start bringing it over to this side objective if I need to. It doesn't always need to stay back here and screen. These fellows are trying to get onto this objective. I have these Custodes, the Terminators. They're just kind of sitting here to threaten the middle, or even possibly the one back here in this corner there. And we have the sisters, just so I don't, and maybe I get airled on, I don't want to throw out the Eversort or the Terminators. I can throw those sisters in the middle. And we have the sisters back here just so if I need to get investigate signals. And this unit of Terminators are in reserve, so I can deep strike them if I need to rapid ingress them. Maybe if this side needs a little more backup, or I need to throw them into the back end. Same as these ones. These ones can, if I get to turn 2, if I don't get the first turn, I can go and make them first turn and throw them in the back lines. And like I said, this game is, it's more practice. It's more practiced on just practice on reaction, really, because it's hard to make plans against yourself. But you can make moves and then realize, oh, okay, I can do this to stop this, or I can do that to counter that. You can kind of figure out a few things with your army that you may not be able to figure out, or it would take you longer to figure out against an opponent. My 2 scout squads, I got one there just holding on to this objective, so I can kind of not to worry about putting too many resources over there, holding that one for now. One in the middle just for the aerial denial. I put the Hellblasters over here just to give them options to shoot into the middle, or possibly over here if I need to. The other ballista is here because I can actually, if I get first turn, I can actually get shots downrange on that tank. 3 aggressors, Bullstorm aggressors with the Ragstorm, they're there with them. Azrael's with the Hellblasters. The Assault Intercessors are staying on the home field objective. And those guys are in reserve. I think that is everything. So let's see who goes first. Pair of dice here. Like I said, green is Dark Angels and yellow and black is Custodes. Now we'll go on to the command phase and see what our draws are. Pretty simple and swift movement phase for the Dark Angels. Just spread back here to stop any deep strikes, and then move this fellow back here so he's still within 9 so he can do investigate signals. These fellows move back just a little bit just to stop some deep strikes, hopefully in the corners here. Not quite sure if I got back enough, but I didn't want to get too far back so these fellows up there could see me. So I moved these fellows so they're going to cleanse. The Terminators moved up inside this building. I have this on top just so they can tell that they're inside the building. The aggressors moved up close beside them. The scouts have just moved ahead a little bit to cleanse this objective. And this Ballistus Dreadnought moved ahead, like I said, to get first turn to get some shots onto that. Eddie kind of moved, since Dark Angel got first turn, he moved back towards this objective. He's lone operative, so he can't really be shot unless within 12. So hopefully, in case I need to get cleanse or something with the Custodes, he can do it without having to try to get these fellows over there. Come back in the shooting phase, which is just going to be the Dreadnought here, really. Command phase, I would have been putting the Oath of the Moment, obviously, on that, the only target who can really shoot. And we're going to use, just to test with some of these strats, and we have CP, it's only 1 CP. It's called Unforgiven's Fury, so it just pretty much gives me lethal hits to try to hopefully maybe get some 6s. I don't have to try any rolling wounds or anything, hopefully to get take some damage off that tank. So first we have the 2 crack missiles hitting on 3s, re-rolling. 6s are lethal. Now we're not going to re-roll those just because we'll take those as hits. But it's strength 10 and toughness 11, so we need 5s. No wounds. Alright, and then we have the Ballistus Las Cannon. This hits on 3s as well. 6s will be lethal with 3 rolls because of Oath. We're going to re-roll this too. Sadly, no 6s. Everything hit so far, but no 6s. And then strength 12 against toughness 11, so we are going to need 3s to wound. That's 1 wound. So it's a 2-up save with cover. And EP 3, so 4-up invul, or 4-up save is what I need. Makes it. So it makes a save, so it doesn't take any damage. Storm Bolters are not in range or anything, so that'd be the end of my shooting phase. The Dark Angels got 7 points in their last turn, 5 for Cleanse and 2 for Investigate Signal. So let's see, let's cut our deck here and see what the Custodes get first turn. We have Secure No Man's Land, it's not a bad one, and Capture an Outpost, that one's terrible. And I go up, and Custodes go to 2 CP, and the Dark Angels go up to 2 CP since they spent 1 on that strategy, which really didn't do anything, but still was good to use it. For the Custodes movement, we just moved this tank up a little bit so we can get a shot on that Dreadnought there. Same with this tank, since I didn't even have to move him because she shot me, so he shot me, so I can shoot him. I don't know about this movement here, but I moved some of these Custodes back just a little bit. These Terminators get some shot on these scouts in the middle. Not all of them, because I didn't want to get too close, just so I have the option of moving anywhere I need in case I need to go back this way. And keep, shots away from these Hellblasters. If they actually want to maybe shoot these guys, they'll have to move a little closer to them. Who knows? The Valerian got a advance of 4, so it's no advance of 5, so 11, so he's able to kind of get inside the building as well. Hopefully I can destroy that Dreadnought so I don't take any shots from him. Good advance of 3, so I moved up here 9, got onto this objective. I got a 6 on my advance with my Eddie the Eversword just to try to get in this corner, so he's down to 4 wounds. These sisters with an advance onto this objective, so hopefully I can clear these fellas out and get that one to secure no man's land, and I already have this one. And I do believe that's our movement. Terminators, they whiffed a little bit, but they did their job of killing enough of these fellas, so they are already going to take it anyways, but now we have the objective for sure. So that will secure no man's land. These tanks into the Dreadnought, and we are going to use 1 CP with the Dark Angels for Armor of Contempt. So this first tank, it'll be, so it's lethal hits, hitting on 2s. Missed 1. Strength 12 against toughness 10, I do believe. So we need 3s and re-rolling because of twin linked. So that's all 3. Right, and then, so this is kind of the bad thing about the tank. The tank is only AP 3, so with Armor of Contempt and cover, we're looking at 3 ups with this. So that's why it's not, it can be swinging. So 3 up saves for the Dreadnought. Makes every one of them. So we're going to go back to the other tank. The tank did absolutely no damage, sadly. Both of them, both tanks did no damage. So we will just shoot their little pitter-patter bolt thingies. I think they're in range of the tank, of the Dreadnought, so I don't think they're going to do much, but that will be the Custodes shooting phase. And I don't think I'm going to charge anything. And then we're going to discard Capture Enemy Outpost for another CP, bringing us up to 3. And we'll move on to Dark Angel's turn and see what they draw. And let's see what the Dark Angels draw. Defend Stronghold, that's a good one. And a Tempting Target. Ooh. Wow, we'll put this one for the Custodes. We're going to make that one a Tempting Target one. Way over here with all these fellows on it. We'll make that one a Tempting Target. Go up to 4 CP because of having Azrael on the old board. And the Custodes are up to 4 CP as well. And we will move on to our movement phase. For the Dark Angels movement phase, we moved try some aggressive moves here. We moved the Ballistus Dreadnought to get some shots on there. Drop down the Inceptors, Plasma Inceptors, to try to somehow get the Tempting Target if we can kill them, luckily, somehow. I just moved the Aggressors up to try to get some shots onto these Sisters, see if we can get the Sisters off and control that objective, making the Wardens have to come up into here. And then I brought these Eradicators from reserve, just to get some shots onto these Terminators, because if I can get rid of these Terminators, and then I'll really, since I have the tanks, I won't have a lot more infantry left to threaten. I still have, that is the movement phase for the Dark Angels, just kind of putting some pressure, hopefully get some points. The Alpha movement target will be these Custodian Guard, these Eradicators at these Terminators. So we'll shoot the multi-meltas first, so we get 2 multi-meltas, so 4 shots, hitting on 4s with multi-meltas. That's all hits. And then 3s to wound. AP4, so 4 ups. Save both of them. Then we have 4 from the regular meltas, and then, so they are hitting on 3s. And 6s with the Biologus. I don't know if I get any 6s the other time, but 6s with the Biologus are all lethals. And then a 3 to wound. Okay, so that's 3 saves, 3 4-up saves. And the Terminators take no damage. Alright, I figured they would take a little more damage than that from these fellas, but alright, we'll move on to shooting over there. So we're going to use the stratagem Unforgiven's Fury on these fellas, give them lethal hits. I'm going to be shooting into their overcharging, so for the overcharge, I'm going to use -1 damage for this Custodes, so that'll bring me down to 2 CP, 3 CP for the Dark Angels. And we'll also shoot this Ballistus Dreadnought into these Custodes there as well. Some good rolling by these cards. So 4 wounds by the Inceptors and 2 were saved, so that killed, and -1 damage, so it brought them down to 2 damage each. So it killed one of the guys with the spears. Dreadnought got one last cannon through, and it killed another guy with the spear, and then everything else was saved or missed. And our 3 hazards here. I lose 1 Inceptor. Gross. 1 single aggressor shot into the prosecutors, only killed 1 of them. The scouts kind of bounced off them as well. So some really clutch saves by the Custodes kind of really kept me in it, and it's going to be able to allow me to have quite the punch back on my turn. So we're going to charge these scouts into the prosecutors and make it on 9, and we'll charge these aggressors in as well. These aggressors in as well. With a 5. After that lackluster shooting phase, pretty much got in there and splattered them prosecutors. So we're going to move on to turn 2 for the Custodes. And we didn't get tempting target. These guard tank pretty much a lot of the shooting, so we're not going to be able to get that one. Turn 2 for the Custodes, we're going to get defend strongholds, same as the Dark Angels. So Dark Angels should be able to score that as well. And storm hostile objectives. So we're going to storm the middle one or the one down in the corner. So probably the one in the middle. Command phase, I spent the CP that I gained to bring back the Custodian Guard here. Just one of the guys with the spears. Custodian movement phase. We just move this tank out to get a line of sight on these eradicators. We move these Terminators in here to hopefully get a charge into the middle, but also have a few shots from these Terminators into these eradicators. I moved the Wardens a little closer in here to try to get a charge into the middle. I dropped my 5 Terminators ahead in reserve, deep stroke them into right here to get some shots onto these aggressors. And just to kind of have some, I want to try to hold on to these 3 objectives right here. So this gives me some options to go to this one if I need to, or to the middle, or back behind if I somehow. I can also still golden light them if I need to be. I might shoot some indirect fire into from her Drax's psychic ability into some of these. I move this tank to get some shots onto those aggressors as well. And that is the movement. So it turns out I wasn't quite within range with the Inquisitor, and they hadn't moved, so I just shuffled her ahead an inch, so she is in range of the Hellblasters now. So we're going to show us why I like taking her. So we're going to fire her gun into these Inceptors, and her psychic ability into the Hellblasters. So her gun is 4 shots. Oh, and also in the command phase, I rolled a 6 for her ability that they can't be targeted within 18 inches. So it's like an 18-inch lone operative she has for a 2-up in the command phase to the unit that she's in. So she has so many different bonuses that she brings. Hitting on 3s. And then their anti-infantry 4 devastating wounds. So we're going to shoot into them. Looking for 4, so re-rolling since we are on an objective with the Custodian Guard that she's with. Alright, and the re-roll here. She misses. Well, that's great showing her off. Okay, so we're gonna shoot the indirect fire now, so it's gonna be -1 to hit, so 4s, but sustained 2s for her. Sustained 6s, so sustained 2s. No sustained. Then strength 6 against toughness 4. So we're gonna need a 3s. Re-rolling since we're on an objective with the Custodian Guard. So that's 3 wounds. Alright, so we got 3 up save. Every missed one's a dead one. So it's 2, and there's no one for them to target to shoot with their little ability. So that's just 2 dead Hellblasters. So with the shooting from the guard, we killed a Inceptor and the one left on 1 wound. And the great thing about having Draxus in this unit, she kind of whiffed that turn. Well, they have a once per game ability where they can shoot again. So we're going to do the exact same shooting. We're going to shoot 4 into the Inceptor, hitting on 3s. A little better this time. And then 4 is re-rolling because we're on an objective. That one cocked. So that's just 6 devastating wounds. That will kill that Inceptor. And then we're going to shoot the 6 shots into the Hellblasters, hitting on 4s, 6 of those sustained. Sustained 2 rather. So sustain 2, sustain 2. And then 3, so strength 6, that's toughness 4. Re-rolling since we're on an objective with the Custodian Guard. So now that is 7. 7 at AP 0, so 3 ups. That kills another 3, and then we roll these other 2 to make the 7. That kills 4, and like I said, there's no one for them to shoot at really. There's no one to see. So that is Drax is kind of neutering this unit without it even being able to shoot back at anyone. Like I said, I'll show you the tank. So this tank is going to be shooting at those aggressors you can see. Alright, so with 4 shots. No, this isn't a vehicle, so it's not lethal. So 4 shots hitting on 2s. All hits. 2s. Re-rolling because of twin linked. So that's all the wounds. AP 3. But they're getting cover, so AP 2. So 5 ups. 4, 5 ups. Oop. Makes 1. So these are D6 plus 2, so each one of these will kill them. I should have maybe used Armor of Contempt, but I want to save these for the Eradicators. Alright, same thing over here, but we will be using Armor of Contempt. 4 shots, 2s are into the, and we're shooting this tank into those Eradicators. Miss with 1, and then wounding on 2, so strength 12 against toughness 6. That's all 3. So we'll bring this down to, once again, from AP 3 to AP 1, so 5, so 3 5 ups. Doesn't make any of them. So that would be 5 damage, 6 damage, 5 damage. So that'll kill 3 Eradicators. They're not bad. They can be useful for shooting infantry like that, but you know, some, as you've seen against big tanks and dreadnoughts, were kind of their main target. They kind of bounce a little bit. So maybe next turn I might be able to get some shots on a dreadnought or 2, but we'll have to see what happens. So that kills 3 Eradicators, and we'll do the rest of the pitter patter off camera, and we'll go to the charge phase. Pretty dreadful rolling by these Eradicators. The Terminators and the little pitter patter guns were able to kill a few more of these, so they're down to just two models with 1 down to 2 wounds in the Biologist. So now for our charge phase, we're just going to charge these Terminators into these Scouts. You just need like a 5 or a 4. A 4, let's make sure to see if that makes it or not. 4 does make it, the Wardens with Valerian into these Aggressors. And they definitely make it with a 7. That was a big turn by the Custodes. Turn 2, we were able to get onto the objective. I actually used -1 damage from it being charged with the Dark Angels. If you're charged, you can use the stratagem for -1 damage and Armored Content. So I was able to keep him alive. He didn't do any damage back. I was able to save them both with the 4 up with the Custodes here. Actually, it wasn't a 3 up because Valerian makes -1 AP. It's like a little mini Armored Content, but only in melee. And we're still sitting there. These Custodes didn't do anything. Terminators, we kind of sit there too, didn't charge or anything. But not killing these guys will probably allow me, the Dark Angels, to get a charge onto these Terminators. Maybe deal with the Terminators without having to deal with the Wardens and the Terminators at the same time. We're going to need a big turn 3 from the Dark Angels though. So we did Score Defense Stronghold with the Dark Angels. So we're going to see what that card's are. Turn 3, Aerial Denial. engaging all fronts. And we're going to go up to 3 CP. And the Custodes are going to go up to 3 CP as well. These Terminators are going to be my O-fill moment. I'm hoping that I can wipe them out with these Knights and then worry about the Wardens next turn. Another pretty quick movement phase. I advanced this Dreadnought up here to hopefully get some shots next turn. Brought these Hellblasters out to get some shots on these Wardens. I actually didn't fail any of the battle shocks, so I was able to fall back with that aggressor. Just got shuffled ahead a little bit to stay away from shots from these tanks. Some shots onto these Wardens as well. Deathwing Knights, they moved up to engage the Terminators, hopefully to try to clear out the middle here, and that's my hope here, so hopefully clear out the middle. And these Eradicators, they didn't fail their battle shocks. They rolled a 5 on their advance, so I was able to kind of get them tucked into this kind of alcove here. With hopefully the tank will be able to shoot them next turn, or at least we'll have to move up, because I wasn't able to get in range with it. So we'll see what happens at the end of the shooting phase. Having only 3 CP with the Custodes, I'm going to just use the Feel No Pain against the shooting with the Wardens this round and save the Archangel Alchemy on the Terminators or whatever these Knights charge into. Unforgiven's Fury, I'm popping that for 1 CP on the Hellblasters, so they have lethal hits. And they have sustains hits with Ezreal in the group there. Big shooting phase for the Dark Angels. We were able to kill every one of the Wardens except for one. The Ballistus Dreadnought popped off hard, killed I think 2 or 3 by himself. And the Hellblasters killed 1 or 2, but we have their hazardous roll. None of them failed, so they are good. The only charge we can do is just these Deathwing Knights into the Terminators. That 8-inch charge, we'll be able to make it in, and with all the pile of shenanigans, only one won't be able to attack. So we're looking to put on some hurt on these Terminators. So we're going to use the Unforgiven's Fury to give all these guys lethal hits. And we're going to use Archangel Alchemy with these Terminators to have them -1 damage. So we'll see what happens. And after looking at the data card, I realized using Archangel Alchemy will only bring them down to 2 wounds. So I'll still take 2 to kill them either way. So I'm actually going to use Fight First with them and see if I can snipe out 1 or 2, but they're -1 damage, so they're going to bring my spears down to 1 damage, so we'll see what happens. But I'm going to use the -1 to hit stance, because I won't be able to kill all these, so I'm going to try and make myself last as long as I can. That captain there makes Armor of Content. We're going to use that free, just for his once per battle round. We'll use that to make Armor of Content free. The Terminators, with their reroll of wounds, since they're the character in that unit, they got 20 wounds through, so that's why -1 damage innately on the Deathwing Knights and Armor of Content will really come in clutch here. So 3 ups, and any failed is just 1 damage. It takes 4 to kill 1. So yeah, once we take out all the passes, there's only 5 that went through. So it'll kill 1 Terminator and bring 1 down to 3 wounds. Pretty successful combat turn. They were able to pick up them Terminators quite easily. That's why the -1 damage really makes a big difference against Custodes damage with spears, because they're 2 damage each, and then Armor Content brought them down to 3 up saves, so that really didn't do too much there. And then they piled in against these Wardens. Wardens hit back and did 2 wounds, so brought that one Deathwing Knight from 3 wounds down to 1. And we're going to go on to Custodes turn 3, but that was that's what the Dark Angels needed. They need a good turn like that, or it was looking pretty dire, so we'll see what happens on turn 3. And I would have got engaged in all fronts with the Dark Angels, and Air Denial is not happening this turn. I'll hold on to that since I do get quite a bit of CP, and if they fall back, I'll kind of get it. Custodes would have got Defend Stronghold as well, so we're going to see what they get for their draw. Extend Battle Lines and Assassination, so we'll see what we can do with that. Now we'll go on to movement with the Custodes. So I'm going to spend 1 CP on rezzing one of my Wardens. You can only do this once per unit, so I'm going to bring back a Warden for a CP. I'm going to spend the other one to Insane Bravery them. So I just kind of move the Inquisitor up to get some shots on these Deathwing Knights. The Terminators get some shots on the Hellblasters. The Wardens fell back. The tank moved back here to get some shots onto this dreadnought. This tank moved over here, up say here some, to get some shots possibly on the Deathwing Knights or the Hellblasters. If I can kind of make it so he has to stay there with his, if there are no other units to kind of hold on to that objective, he'll just stay with the Deathwing Knights, and then maybe I can come back here and take this, or maybe Golden Light here. Give myself some options, but instead of kind of moving forward and kind of get myself splattered on this unit, I'm going to see if I can do some tricks to make them have to stay there. And I promised to show you all the tank shots, so the tank is going to shoot into this dreadnought, and the dreadnought is going to use Armor of Contempt, and so we'll have cover as well, so as the tank can't fully see it. So we're looking for lethals or 6s, 2s are, so we got a 1, so we need 3s re-rolling since we're twin linked. Armor Content and cover, the 2-up save, AP3 turns into only an AP1, so a 3-up save. Ooh, and then we're going to CP reroll exit. If I can stop one of those. Oh, another 2, so we're going to see what the damage is. So the damage, D6 plus 2 for the first shot, 6 damage, and for the next shot, it's 5 damage. I have no CP to reroll that, so that brings that dreadnought down to 1 wound. Terminators were able to mop up the rest of these plasma, the rest of these Hellblasters. They were able to one of them was able to shoot back. Wound was saved by the Wardens, and we also from the grenade launchers and the spears brought Ezreal down to 5 wounds. Killed the rest of the Hellblasters. So now we're going to try some little bit of risky stuff here. So we're going to shoot all the spears, well, the spear, and we're going to shoot the Devastating Wounds weapon into there. From Draxus is going to shoot her weapon, her shooting weapon, into this aggressor. Her indirect fire is going to be firing into the Terminators. The Deathwing, this tank over here, is going to be firing at Azrael. So I'm going to try to neuter as many of these units as I can to stop his movement. Oh, we'll do this. We'll do the. I'll show you this. So they're going to shoot up to Azrael. He will pop Armor of Content as well. He will have cover. Be 3-up saves. 2s. Lethals aren't. He's on a monster vehicle, so no lethals. It's all hits. And then 2s again. Re-rolling any. Alright, so that's all the wounds. Alright, so we're out of CP, so I don't want to use re-roll, so we're going to use 4. So we need 3-ups. Only failed 1. So we'll see how much damage. This is D6 plus 2. Oop. 5 damage. That will actually kill him on the dot. We'll do the rest of the shooting and see what happens. I actually don't know if I had enough CP with because I also did a save reroll with the Dreadnought. So either way, even the 4 5s, those would have saved. But the 1 did fail, and so that 1 shot did kill Azrael. So that would give me assassination. The rest of the shooting, the psychic weapon was able to take off the last wound off this Deathwing Knight. So we're down to 8 Deathwing Knights with the captain. So I did do my kind of what I want to do is take out a lot of the units, so it kind of makes them kind of stuck to the objective. Not killing that Dreadnought kind of sucks, and having those back there, but there's pretty weak back here, so I might be able to move up here, maybe Golden Light if I have to, but we're going to see what we can do with Dark Angels. Dark Angels, we still have Aerial Denial. So we're going to see what we have, and no prisoners. So those are pretty good cards. The Dark Angels are only up to 1 CP since Azrael is dead, sadly. The Oath of the Moment is going to be these Terminators to try to do as much damage with this Dreadnought as it can. He is wounded, so the -1 hit should be offset by the Oath of the Moment rerolls. Another pretty short movement phase. So this Ballistic Dreadnought just backed up some to stop any deep strikes, because those Terminators can still Golden Light at the end of my turn, or the Dark Angel's turn if they're not in combat. So we'll have to worry about that. This fella moved back some just to get some shots onto the Terminators, as well as stop from any kind of deep strike shenanigans around here. The Eradicators moved up to get some shots on that tank. And these Terminators just kind of move forward and got to try to charge that warden. It shouldn't be too bad. I only have 1 CP, so I can't, as the Custodes, so I can't use a fight first. Pretty ineffectual shooting phase. I was able to kill 1 Terminator, and the Eradicators just bounced off the tank. I got a lethal hit, but then I got a 5-up on my invulnerable save for the tank. So now it's just on to these Terminators to charge into these wardens. Terminators made it in here. And we got piled in here. 5 of them in here, and it's a shame I don't have any more wardens, that somebody died, because we'll show off Valerian's -1 AP a little more in melee, but I think I might be a little bit outnumbered here, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to use the -1 to hit stance for the Custodes, and we'll go into melee. Captain, going to use his Rites of Battle for Unforgiven Fury, since it is a battle tactic, so we'll give these guys lethal hits, so it might get around the warden's toughness a little bit here. I still have the flail to go, but this shows how strong Valerian can be. I get 5 of mace hits through, wounds through, and with the Valerian it gives me -1 AP, so these guys only have 1 AP, so I only needed 2 ups to save, so I only failed 1, so I lost 1 warden. I still have a warden left, and the flail left to go. And yeah, surprisingly enough, the flails did no damage. I was able to only get 1 lethal wound through, which we saved. And we only did a 1 wound back between Valerian and the Warden. We did 1 wound onto the Deafening Knight, since I used Arm of Contempt on them. We're going to move on to turn 4 for the Custodes, but having these Wardens survive is nice, because it keeps these Deafening Knights gummed up. It keeps them there. Since these guys are in engagement range at the end of Dark Angel's turn, I will actually pick these guys up. Reinforcement stage of the next turn, you put them down. So you can actually use this up into turn 5 if you really needed to. And what do we draw for turn 4? We draw Aerial Denial, which is going to be a hard one, and bring it down. So I think I might actually, because I need points right now, is spend the 1 CP that I got, discard Aerial Denial, and a Tempting Target, which Dark Angels will make it the middle one. So we'll see what happens. The Wardens and Valerian were able to pass their battle shocks. I'm going to make them fall back and keep on trying to gum up these Deathlings. I moved Eddie up here just to hold this objective. Move these Custodian Guard forward, fell back a little bit like this to protect the... Fell back like that from here to here. And this tank moved back a little bit more to try to get some shots to try to kill that for bringing it down. Terminators came down over here just to try to kill these Eradicators. So hopefully next turn I can actually move on to this objective and take this. And this tank is going to shoot these scouts to try to see if we can take this objective. And that is pretty much my movement phase. Points right now are 63 to 61 for the Custodes. We'll do our tank here, shooting into this Dreadnought. I used Armor Contempt again just to try to keep him alive. You never know, maybe I can deny getting, bring it down. So here we go, 6 are lethal, 1 miss, 1 lethal, and then 3 is rerolling because of twin linked. So it's only 2. Alright, so we get 2, 3 up here. Oh, we might want to use RCP for something else, so we'll take that. Because there's other things I could shoot at that thing, so if I somehow tank that, then possibly, but there's other things I can shoot at that thing now, so we'll just take that loss. Does it blow up? No. I was able to kill this last Eradicator, and then I consolidated into this Biologist, since he was his own unit now. Get me a little closer to his objective. So let's see what happens in turn 5 for the Dark Angels. This is a pretty close one. Alright, the score right now is 76-67 for the Dark Angels. I was able to get 1 for this one, hold that, and hold more since I had the middle. So that gives me 15 on primary, and let's see what our Secure No Man's Land, that's a pretty good one to get, and Overwhelming Force. We'll see about that. I don't think I'm on anyone unless I can get at that Eversor or the guys in the back, so I don't think that one's going to happen. We'll spend our CP we got for this turn, get rid of Overwhelming Force for Deploy Teleport Homer, so we can do that in the middle, so Well, we'll see what we get for our points. These wardens will be our turn 5 Oath of Moment. Alright, it's going to be a pretty quick phase. We are going to cleanse with the Deathwing Knights, shoot with this Ballistic Dreadnought, see if we can kill these wardens, kind of tucked around that wall with these fellas there, with that one scout. Gonna try to hold on and see points there at the end. Remember the total points of 8467 going into Custodes last turn. Let's see if we can turn around, see what cards we get, and see what happens. So my cards this turn, turn 5 for the Custodes, are engaging all fronts. I can get that one, and behind enemy lines. That one's probably not happening, so let's see what we can do here. Oh, in this attack back in the Dark Angels turn 5, we did nothing to each other. So for my movement, since this thing has fly, I am actually just going to fly this thing right to there to steal that objective and hopefully kill him and see what happens. And since these Deathwing Knights had to stay here to deploy Teleport Homer, it gives these guys, my wardens, they might have a way to run into there for some points from behind enemy lines, which might steal me the game. I have CP to reroll, so we need a nice advance. 3. I'm going to measure that up, and then we'll come back and see what happens. I'm going to have to reroll that. And I was able to make that, so I was able to actually get in there behind enemy lines with their 3, so they had 3 to the 6, so it's a 9-inch. I was able to get in there. The tank should, I'm not going to bother doing any shooting because the tank's just going to take that, and we'll add the points up, and I think I might have been able to steal that with engaging all friends, which is funny because oddly enough, if they had never got to deploy Teleport Homers, they would have been engaging the wardens, and I might have maybe not been, even if I fell back to try to get that, I probably wouldn't have made that, or they were battle shocked. It's just, I wouldn't have the option to actually move those in here, so actually that might have saved me. A very, very close game. Being able to take that objective and holding this with Eddie and having this back one gives me 15 on the primary at the end of the turn, and I get 2 for behind enemy lines and 3 for engage, so it brings it up to 88 to 84 for the Custodes for the final score. Close game. Like I said, showed the tanks. They're swingy. So if I had more infantry, I might have been able to deal with these Deathwing. But these guys were tough, so -1 damage really does hinder Custodes, especially if you are really hoping on that one unit surviving. You know, you only have maybe a couple of units. You want to send your one unit in, and you're going to say, okay, maybe I'm going to take this, and I'll be able to stay there all game. Well, if you lose that unit, then you really start losing options. I was able to move that tank down there and actually use it aggressively to take objectives, because if I hadn't started moving that down there early, like I did, I would have never been able to get on that objective and steal that and again winning me the game, really, because it gave me 5 more primary for holding more at the end of my turn, and then getting on there behind me lines and engage for all friends. 1 there, 80 there, and the tank over there. So that is the end of our game. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry for these solo games. I've been sick for the last few days, and all my friends have been sick, so the games haven't been lining up, but we'll have some actual people on here soon. I might do another solo game of Necrons versus Tau. I might use the Hypercrypt Legion, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get someone here before then. If not, if I'm still sick, we'll throw on another solo game. Thanks for stopping by.